All you 4Runner fans, in particular the Gen 1 lovers, I finally found time to do our video that you've been asking for. This is our 1985 Ln60. What a fun build it's been. It's come along a lot quicker than we would have thought. The year 2020 has been a little bit out there. With no competitions to run the comp truck, we've had ample time to play with this. Those of you who've seen the 8-part build, I wanted to just compress it all into one video. You've all asked for a walk around. So it's an Ln60, this one. It's got the 2L motor. It's a 1985 model. Let's get into it. We've got a 2.4 litre diesel, which has almost racked up 600,000 kilometres. Now the previous owner, he had an aftermarket turbo kit installed. All we've done with that is added a bit more fuel to it and complemented it with a surf airbox, which we've run on all our Hiluxes over the years. It's basically more direct airflow. This one we were able to pick up an unused period correct safari snorkel. Basically the air goes through that ram, down through the snorkel, through that into the airbox, and then more directly into the turbo. The ARB compressor for pumping up tyres and running the 2 lockers. But we're done under here. Everything opens and shuts as it should. Gaps are all good. It's been really well looked after, this car, and not been abused. So I'm still running the factory bumper. No bull bar for it yet. No real need for one at the moment for what we use it for. Would like to somehow get a winch in there at a later date. No body lift, so there was no bracketry movement for that bumper to sit where it sits. With the grille, I picked up a later model, Ln67, or actually an YN67 grille. They came in chrome. And on the bonnet, we've put in a 2013 Toyota Hilux bonnet scoop. I have put a set of sliders on. I figured that's the safest bet to protect these sills. I mean, a car in this condition, in this age, it needed some protection on the sills. So Adam made these up. He's got a plate bolted onto the cross member at the front, and then at the rear he's made a box section plate on the chassis and bolted to it so they can be easily removed. They're not welded to the chassis, so if they do get bent we can replace them or repair them. As you can see, they're getting used. They're being used as they were made. It's not a show pony, this truck. Tapered the angle up just that little bit, just to give it that little bit more clearance, but also I feel that it looks a little bit better. I've put checker plate on top, nice shiny checker plate to complement that chrome strip. Okay, now with the rear, we haven't done a quarter chop or anything like that. We haven't bobbed it. All we've really done is taken the old bar off it and made up a bar that sits as tight to the body as possible, allowing for the tailgate to open. He's got bracketry that bolts up to where the factory tow bar would have. Nice strong brackets there. And he's got some in the back here. So he's done a good job with that. It's very solid. We have fallen on it a few times, as you can see. We've got recovery hooks like we used to use in the old day. In the touring class, you're allowed to still use these recovery hooks. I do have the keeper. On a plate that's all comp spec rated. If this thing ever does a comp in the touring class on 33s, it would be allowable. So that's the rear step. I cut a bit of checker plate around that to match in with the side step. The tailgate clears that step. That's what governed our height. I've put checker plate down on that. The kids like to have you know, bacon and eggs on here when we're up the beach. Also rare for them to have a working back window. So this one works with the key, but also with the switch. While we're in here, we may as well look at the dash. My friend Mark at Sydney Motor Trimmers, he redid the steering wheel for me. This is the period correct SR5 type steering wheel for back in the day. It's got the diesel dash. So with the petrols, they didn't have the tacho like that. It's one of my favourite dashes, this with the grid. Pretty basic too. You got your fuel, your temperature, and then a couple of lights. Throughout that 8-part series, if there was ever any vision of this on the videos, I would always get comments and questions. What is it? So the 4Runner come out with an inclinator. It was basically these three. It came in a nice vinyl cover which matched the dash. The previous owner, he's modified it. He's added in a voltmeter, an inlet temperature gauge, and a pyrometer, which is an exhaust temperature gauge. Also a boost gauge all the way over there. So I have the original factory cover for this. I'm not sure yet what to do with it. I do want to fix it and bring it back to its original status. I'll just have to see how many holes he's got for all the cables that go into there. Otherwise I'll be up for a new dash. What we've got down the bottom here, we've got a CD player, FM AM, UHF. I've cut in holes here, and I've got the ARB compressor switch and the front and rear locker switches just there. I've also got it isolated so I can run the front only first and not have the rear on to run the front. Just a mindset that I have with the comp trucks. Console. So we picked this part up out of an LN106. And then this is the factory 4Runner one, which I had Mark again from City Motor Trimmers redo the lid for me. It's actually the perfect spot to rest your arm while you're driving. So that console, I love it. There's plenty of storage. You've got that section there and then the section below. Still got the factory seats. The cloth's in still pretty good condition. Factory door trims. Kids love this. This is how the kids get in and out. The back seats are still in good condition. Again, everything opens and shuts nicely, doesn't rattle. Again, lucky enough, my contact Michael at Toyota was able to get me some brand new hinges for the Ln60. So it's made that just beautiful. The driver's side door had a bit of rattle in it, as those hinges do wear. I mean, 573,000 kilometers. So it's still going all right. All right, let's get down to the good bits, the money bits. Is the running gear. The diffs, we're running 4.5s. We run factory 4.5 ring and pinion, not aftermarket. Now, the reason I say that is because getting hold of the factory ones now is getting rare, and the aftermarket ones don't last us as long on the comp truck. ARB air lockers in them. My friend Brian, he's the guru at them. Never have an issue with them. Been running them for like 30 years. Also, the rears, I haven't changed the axle. So I'm running the standard factory axle in the rear. Everything in the rear is factory except the center. We are running Longfield CVs in the front. They're trail gear Longfields supplied to me by Roadrunner Off-Road. Chromoly hub gears. And again, the ARB air locker in there. We're running a Superior high clearance cross member. And under that cross member is a transfer case with some 4.7 reduction gears. These ones are a terrain tamer set up from Don Kyatt. Rock crawling is all about gearing, in my opinion. You can always find a taller gear, but you can never come back to a lower gear if you don't have it. Now, when you don't have the reduction gears or twin sticks, you are running a very high, low range. The bigger that your tire is, the faster you'll go. Basically, you won't be able to get that crawling momentum. So I know with this truck, it's got the exact same running gear as the comp truck. I'm running 4.7s in the transfer with 4.5 diff gears in bullet truck. Now, there's not many places that thing can't go. Not saying that this truck's set up the same way, but at least I know that with my gearing and the running gear under it, it's strong and it's low. So steering, we're running a Roadrunner Off-Road drop drag link. I'm running a Snake Racing rock rod, which is a chromoly rock rod. I've got a Superior Engineering pin-to-pin steering damper, a Roadrunner Off-Road adjustable torque rod, conventional steering on this, as I want to keep it as original as possible, but still get the best that I can out of it. All right, suspension. A lot of people ask a lot of different kinds of questions about suspension, and I'm always happy to answer them. But in the front, what we've done, we've pushed the diff forward. We've used a hole on the housing to move the center pin across, which I've made a video of already. And we've got custom leaves. So they're basically a set of leaves that don't give a lot of lift, but give a bit of flex. We're running an inch over standard shackle and a Rancho RS 9000 shock. Got a custom front shaft, which I've still had to use a spacer for until I do eventually put a bar on this to bring the weight, to bring the nose down a bit, because I've got the back sitting down a little bit. We'll get to the back in a second. But that's the suspension setup. So there's a lot of down travel in that. I let the leaves slightly open up by taking out that saddle bolt. You can get away with it in the fronts, in the rears you can't. The torque rod's important. Once you start getting a bit of lift and a bit of flex, if you don't have a torque rod, that front diff will start to want to walk forward. There's a compromise with shock lengths. So I've got a fair bit of down travel, as you can see. There's probably a little bit more in there, but that size shock, that RS 9000, won't give us the same leeway with up travel. So I've bottomed out that shock now. The springs are pretty much going the other way. Now what I've got in the comp truck is I've got a bump stop there to actually stop the shock bottoming out. So there's the up travel. So that's the shock closed now. There's no more up travel coming onto that. Now with the rears are a custom length top leaf. So it's a length that we worked out in the past that suits an extended shackle and gives a bit of droop like that. So that's the down travel on this side, and it's pretty good. I keep the back saddle bolts in so that I don't wrap springs. Springs flatten right out, so they go nice and flat, and that's all to the custom length top leaf, letting that shackle go to that angle. That's actually keeping the wheelbase unchanged at the rear. So that rear diff is in the same place as it was before I touched it. So that custom top leaf is only from the center pin back to the shackle. I actually just spotted an issue which I'll have to address. That tail shaft's hitting the fuel tank. So that bash plate for that fuel tank's off another truck. Now I've modified that to suit my application. Now, and that's a chromoly tail shaft, one-piece tail shaft, which is probably a little bit thicker than a factory 4Runner one. So that's probably where I'm getting that hitting, but I will have to address that. I might have to trim a bit more off that bash plate. I do hear a grinding noise at full flex. I've got the Snake Racing rear invert kit. I've also got Superior Engineering's flip plate kit in the rear. Now the reason that I've inverted the shocks, now in the comp truck I've got them inverted, but I've also got a ladder bar, so I do get a lot more flex out of the setup I've got in the comp car being wider also, so there's more leverage. But the way I see the inversion is it gives more of a triangle, so the actual axle can pivot left to right. Whereas with the factory shock setup, one running back, one running forward, it's more of a ladder bar. It stops the inversion of the rear springs. It actually holds the diff in a safer way. But the only way you can run the A-frame on these is with the body lift and no tank in the back. So those shocks, they're an old man emu and they're the perfect length. I've got another set of shocks. As you can see, I've got a second bracket there welded to the diff, which are a little bit longer, so I do get a little bit more angle. But neither of them make any difference in the bush. So I've chosen the ones that are more comfortable on the road, and that's the straighter ones. Now, it's no race car on the road, but in the bush, it's got plenty of torque. That turbo, it puts out quite a bit more power than a non-turbo 2L. I'm running a 2.5-inch exhaust system. Also snuck in a flexi join, which I had out of a Subaru WRX that was, and it worked well. So to pull that transfer out if and when I need to, I basically just undo that flexi, undo the bracket just there, and that folds down rather than taking the whole exhaust system down. Found some 15x7s. These from memory are a neg 12, so they're an old school rim. Maxxis, who sponsor the comp truck, got some 33 10.5 15, again a very uncommon size these days. Any questions you have, throw down below and I'm always happy to answer. I hope you've enjoyed this walk around, and once again, thanks for watching.